I found my husband's second phone 3 days after the police pulled a woman's body from the river. It was hidden inside the vent behind our laundry room dryer, wrapped in black electrical tape, like something out of a crime documentary. At first, I thought it belonged to one of his coworkers, maybe an old burner phone from his construction job. Then it vibrated. "Did you take care of her?" I remember staring at the screen while the dryer hummed behind me. My hand started shaking so hard I almost dropped it. My husband, Daniel, had just left for work 30 minutes earlier. We'd been married for 11 years. We had movie nights every Friday. He kissed my forehead every morning before leaving the house. He remembered my coffee order better than I did. And suddenly, I was holding a secret phone hidden in my own home. I should have called the police immediately. Instead, I unlocked it. The password was our anniversary. That's the part that still makes me sick. The phone contained hundreds of deleted-looking conversations stored in encrypted apps I'd never seen before. Most of the chats used fake names, women, different cities, different ages. Some messages were flirtatious. Others were terrifying. One conversation stopped me cold. "Jasmine, why are you parked outside my apartment again?" "Daniel, I just wanted to make sure you got home safe." "Jasmine, you're scaring me." The messages ended there. 3 days later, according to news articles saved on the phone, Jasmine Porter was reported missing. I couldn't breathe. I sat on the laundry room floor for nearly an hour scrolling through photos. Most were random street pictures, parking lots, restaurants, women entering apartment buildings, taken from a distance, like surveillance. Then I found a folder simply labeled Lessons. There were videos. I didn't open them. To this day, I still haven't. Instead, I locked the phone, shoved it back into the vent, and convinced myself there had to be another explanation. Because when you love someone for over a decade, your brain fights reality like it's trying to survive a fire. That night, Daniel came home smiling, carrying Thai takeout. "You okay?" he asked. I must have looked pale because he touched my forehead immediately. "You sick?" I stared at him too long. His expression changed for only a second, just a flicker, like he knew something had shifted. "I'm fine," I said. He watched me through dinner, not casually, carefully. That was the first night I locked the bathroom door when I showered. Over the next week, I started noticing things I should have questioned years earlier. Women's items appearing in strange places, a silver earring beneath our bed, a blonde hair tie in his truck, a ring in the garage sink drain. Whenever I asked about them, Daniel laughed it off. "Probably your stuff." But none of it was mine. And once you start seeing cracks in someone, you can't stop. I began secretly recording conversations, checking his jackets, following him after work. One night, around 1:30 a.m., I woke up and realized he wasn't in bed. The house was dark. I found him downstairs, sitting in the living room without the lights on, just staring out the window. My heart nearly stopped. "Daniel?" He turned slowly. "Oh," he said calmly. "Couldn't sleep." Then I noticed the knife beside him on the couch. Not a kitchen knife, one of his hunting knives. He followed my eyes and smiled. "Relax," he said. "You look terrified." I laughed nervously, but something inside me had already started screaming. The next morning I went to the police and immediately regretted it. The detective listened politely while I explained the phone, the messages, the hidden photos, but I had no hard proof connecting Daniel to any crime. Missing women cases weren't unusual in our state. The detective told me not to jump to conclusions. "Do you think your husband is dangerous?" he asked. I remember hesitating, because saying it out loud made it real. "I don't know anymore." He advised me to be cautious and contact them again if I found something concrete. When I got home, Daniel was already there. That never happened. He stood in the kitchen, holding a grocery bag. "You went somewhere?" Every nerve in my body locked up. "Coffee," I lied. He stared at me for a long moment, then smiled. "You forgot your phone." He handed it to me. I had definitely taken my phone. That meant he'd gone through the house looking for me, maybe checking where I'd been. That night, I barely slept. At 3:12 a.m., I heard the laundry room vent clang open. I stayed frozen in bed. Footsteps. Then silence. The next morning, the hidden phone was gone. After that, things escalated fast. Daniel became obsessed with knowing where I was. He started texting constantly. "Who are you with? Why didn't you answer? Send me a picture." Once, I drove to Target and noticed his truck parked across the street 20 minutes later. He claimed it was coincidence, but the fear had already rooted itself inside me. I started checking mirrors while driving, locking every door, sleeping with pepper spray under my pillow. Then came the message that destroyed any remaining doubt. I received it from an unknown email at 2 a.m. Attached was a single image, a photograph of me sleeping, taken from inside my bedroom. Below it was one sentence: "Stop digging." I threw up immediately. Daniel was lying beside me when I got out of bed, pretending to sleep. The next day, while he was at work, I searched the garage. I don't know what I expected to find, but behind a fake wall panel near his tool bench, I discovered a locked metal case. Inside were IDs, 7 of them, different women, along with jewelry, old flip phones, and newspaper clippings about disappearances dating back almost 9 years. And at the bottom, Polaroids. Women tied up, crying. Some looked injured. One looked dead. My vision tunneled so badly I nearly blacked out. Then I heard the garage door opening. Daniel was home early. I grabbed the case and ran through the back door just as he entered the garage. "Emily?" His voice echoed behind me. Calm. Too calm. I sprinted across the yard barefoot, clutching the metal box against my chest. "Emily!" This time, he sounded angry. I reached my car, fumbling the keys so badly I dropped them twice. Then I heard footsteps running. I locked the doors just as Daniel slammed against the driver's side window. His face didn't even look human anymore. No warmth, no panic, just rage. "You opened it?" he shouted. I reversed so fast I nearly hit the mailbox. He chased the car down the driveway, screaming my name. I drove straight to the police station. Everything exploded after that. The evidence connected Daniel to multiple missing persons cases across 3 states. The videos on the hidden phone were worse than investigators imagined. Much worse. Police later told me he'd been selecting victims for years. Mostly women he met online. Sometimes women he stalked randomly. He used fake identities, fake jobs, fake apartments. No one suspected him because he looked painfully normal. The friendly husband, the guy who waved at neighbors, the man who helped elderly people carry groceries. When the police searched our property, they found blood beneath the garage floorboards. Human remains in a wooded area 40 miles outside town. I testified during the trial. I never looked at him directly, but once, while leaving the courtroom, I heard him whisper, "You were supposed to trust me." He was sentenced to multiple life terms without parole. The media called him the Hollow Creek Killer. I divorced him before the trial even ended. Then I disappeared. New city, New apartment, new name for a while. Therapy, panic attacks, insomnia. For years, I couldn't sleep without lights on. Every strange noise made me jump. Every man with dark hair made my chest tighten. But eventually, life softened again. Not fully, never fully, but enough to survive. 5 years later, my friend Rachel convinced me to volunteer at a children's home outside Portland during Christmas week. I almost didn't go. Crowds still made me anxious, but she insisted it would help me feel human again. The orphanage was old but warm. Kids ran through the halls laughing while volunteers handed out gifts and winter clothes. And for the first time in years, I felt peaceful. Until I saw her. A little girl sitting alone near the window, coloring silently. Maybe 5 years old, dark hair, gray-blue eyes. My blood turned to ice. She looked exactly like Daniel. Not similar, exactly. The same eyes, the same crooked smile, even the way she tilted her head while concentrating. I physically stopped walking. Rachel noticed immediately. "You okay?" I couldn't answer. The girl looked up at me and smiled politely, and I swear to God, I nearly fainted. I became obsessed after that. I couldn't stop thinking about her. I started volunteering there every weekend just to see her again. Her name was Lily. Quiet, smart, withdrawn around adults. One evening, I asked the director about her. The woman hesitated before answering. She was born under difficult circumstances. What does that mean? The director lowered her voice. Her mother died shortly after childbirth. Something cold crawled up my spine. Who was her mother? "I'm sorry," she said carefully. "That information is sealed." But I already knew. I felt it. And once that feeling started, I couldn't let it go. I hired a private investigator. 3 weeks later, he called me. "Emily, are you sitting down?" My hands went numb before he even spoke again. Lily's biological mother had been one of Daniel's confirmed victims, a woman named Nicole Vance. She disappeared while 8 months pregnant. Her body was never found, because she died giving birth. According to sealed hospital records, Daniel had brought her to a remote private clinic using fake names. Nicole hemorrhaged during labor. She died that night. Daniel vanished before authorities could question him. And the baby, Lily, ended up in state care. I remember sitting on my kitchen floor sobbing so hard I couldn't breathe. Because suddenly, every nightmare became bigger than me. There was a child in this world created from pure horror, and she had nobody. I visited Lily the next morning. She was drawing again near the same window. When she saw me, she smiled shyly. "Hi." I sat beside her carefully. "What are you drawing?" "A family," she whispered. There were 3 stick figures holding hands. "Who's that?" I asked softly. She pointed to the tallest one. "That's my mommy." Then the smaller figure. "That's me." I swallowed hard. "And this one?" She looked at me. "That's you." I broke completely. 6 months later, I adopted her. People told me it was unhealthy, trauma-driven, dangerous emotionally. Maybe they were right. But every time I looked at Lily, I didn't see Daniel. I saw the last surviving piece of a woman nobody managed to save. And maybe this sounds insane, but loving Lily felt like the only thing that finally silenced the guilt. The nightmares still come sometimes. I still check locks 3 times before bed. Sometimes I wake up convinced Daniel escaped prison. Sometimes I see his face in crowds. But Lily changed something in me. One night, after I tucked her into bed, she looked up sleepily and asked, Do bad people stay bad forever? I stood there in silence for a long time. Then I brushed hair from her face and said, I don't know, but I know they don't get to decide who you become. She smiled and fell asleep holding my hand. And for the first time in 11 years, I wasn't afraid of the dark anymore.